That's it up. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen.
It is finished. John 19 and 30. Go ahead and read this. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost. Now the English vernacular, it is finished, is 3 words. The Greek meaning is tetelestai. Meaning it is finished. Now, in order to appreciate the finish, you have to understand the beginning. And where am I going with this? The beginning started in the Old Testament. And like Minister Cody said, it was just a setup. And when you understand the Old Testament and everything that went on, all the prophets, every prophet, every trial and situation that the promised people, the Jewish people went through, it was just a setup. Daniel in the lion's den, it was just a setup. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego going through the fire, it was just a setup. David and Goliath, it was just a setup. David getting thrust into the kingship of Israel, it was just a setup. Israel going through Egypt 400 years was just a setup. See, what we need to understand, even in our own lives, before we walk down the aisle, before we came and said, I surrender all, before we had a mind to serve Christ, before our heart was fixed, and our mind was regulated, we had before that a setup. Everything that you went through before you gave your heart to Jesus Christ, it was a setup. See, Jesus had to come, and the Old Testament had to take forth in order for Jesus to come. Without the Old Testament, there is no new. See, when Jesus came down, the Old Testament was fulfilled, but not yet. Jesus, when he came down, the match was started. The bell was rung. Congress agreed, the president signed the papers, and the war was started. See, in our own lives, we must understand that when we came down the aisle and said, I surrender all, I believe on my heart that Jesus Christ died on Calvary just for me. See, after that, my father's talked about the asterisk. What you do from the beginning to the end. See, after you gave your heart to Jesus Christ, you had to understand that you was going to go through some mess. You was going to go through some fire. You was going to go through some trials and tribulations. But see, as a young boy, I began to watch wrestling. And I began to watch WWF and WCW, and I thought it was real. I thought that every match was they was going at it. And my father, as I got older, he kept convincing me when I was younger that it's not real, son. It ain't real. It's scripted. See, what I'm trying to tell you is that in our lives, yes, you're going to go through some mess, but guess what? It was already finished. You already won. Since you know you won. Since the finish was already finished by our Lord and Savior. Since he gave his life for you and me. Since his blood was spilled on Calvary. Since his nails in his hands was pierced. Oh, he did it all for me. And since I know it was finished, I'm going to walk like it's finished. No matter the rain comes, no matter the storm in my way, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to stay the course. I'm going to keep on keeping on. I know that my Savior, he wins. And since I have Christ on the inside, I'm going to walk like I'm a winner. I'm going to talk like I'm a winner. You can step on my toe, I'm going to say, excuse you. Excuse me if I step on your toe. Don't get angry at me. God ain't finished with me yet. But as I go in this life, as I begin to wonder, as I begin to understand the glory of the King. Something down on the inside must change. Something down on the inside has to take course. And as you walk this walk, as you talk this talk, I want you to understand that it is finished. Tell your neighbor, tell us die, tell us die. Tell